Hello and welcome to the world of company secretaries. This is our interview show where we interview famous company secretaries in India and also abroad. So today we are joined by a very special guest, CSJ Sundharesan sir. Hello sir, welcome to the interview show.
Hello, Alok. Hi, Abhishek.
Hi, sir. Welcome.
So
Thank you.
before we go ahead, we want to introduce Sundareshan sir. Sundareshan sir is a very senior member of the ICSI. He is a practicing company secretary based out of Bangalore in India, and he specializes in corporate consulting and advisory with core focus on corporate compliance and corporate law. He specializes in what he calls ECG, that is ethics, compliance and governance. Sir also educates and trains different board members, whether it is senior management or advisors, and he uses a very special role play method where he teaches these members on governance, compliance, and also the different risks which is based on their role in the corporates. Sundareshan sir addresses various topics including CSR, corporate governance, and corporate compliance. Sir is also a very coveted member and special member of the IOD, that is Institution or Institute of Directors from 2006. And there he has trained more than 3,000 members and he's been rated as one of the must hear when it comes to the speakers. And very specially, Sir also has authored a book called Board Anatomy. This is just a very short introduction with a senior member with more than 3 decades of experience. There is very little we can put it in
Correct.
1 or 2 minutes. But anyway, we'll learn more from Sir himself. So, hello, Sir, and how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing well, Alok, and thanks for having me in your program. It's nice, and I've heard so many good things about your institution and the work that you people are doing. And please keep that work going. That's all I
Yes,
would
sir.
say because training and teaching are something that does not come to everybody. And now that you folks have been doing such a good job, continue to do that.
Sure, sir. And also, we're very happy you spared some time because most of the audience are students and they'll be very motivated with your words.
Sure.
So first thing we want to ask you is when did you first hear the word company secretary? We go back to the time when you were a student.
Yeah.
Alok, let me put it this way. You know, I am 56 years young, and this term I have been hearing for the last 46 years.
Okay.
Now, wait, I mean, you will think that there is something wrong with my math, right? That is because I am a second generation company secretary, which means from the age of 10, when my father passed out this particular course, I have been hearing about company secretary. So company secretary is not something new to me. I have been with this lovely profession for the last 46 years, if you may.
I
uh,
think I've at least for me, I'm the you're the first person where your dad has been a CS and again you're a second generation CS. That's very special
Correct.
and interesting to know.
yeah.
That is
in
from the
fact in
age
fact
where
uh,
the institute was born, I should say.
yeah, in fact my kids also clear their foundation.
Ah,
Okay.
But of course, since they are doing law, they have not pursued it very seriously as I would have done it.
okay.
Okay.
So I just leave it to them. So if one of them passes, also it will become a third generation.
Third gen-
Correct, correct, correct. So
True,
we
sir.
are actually looking out for that.
See, let's hope so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sir. So how did you take CS course? Was it your father who motivated you, or would you get an interest by yourself? So how did the journey start for you?
Oh, lovely. Actually, okay. After my graduation, of course, those days there was nothing like foundation and all that. So you had to wait to complete your graduation. After that, I think the first thing that my father asked me to do was to go and enroll for this profession. There was not even a second day that I wasted. So I
Okay.
went, I got myself enrolled, and that's where the journey started. So
Okay.
so at the age of maybe around 21, I would have started this, or 20. Yeah.
Sure. So how challenging was the course, or like how did you face it? Because right from degree to our CS subjects, it's very different.
Let me tell you, Abhi, Alok, I have been one of those lucky company secretaries. Yeah, because because I always say this, to get a mentor at 20 years who is also a company secretary, which was my father, I've been very lucky. So when an exam comes up also, he had already taken up this course, so he would really know, section 297 those days, which is 188 now.
Correct.
That used to be the toughest, the related party transaction. And, he would sit with me and then explain various things. And one more thing I'll tell you, I was very, very lucky to have celebrities. I did my course in Chennai, of course. So I had celebrities like LVV Iyer, Anant Raman. I mean, the big people who used to come and teach us out of passion, in the institute. So I have been very lucky. I mean, guys, I have to be very honest out there. And that made my journey much, much more interesting than many others, actually.
Yes, sir. So also Abhishek had one question relating to
Like
your
how long,
studies.
like, basically like you were able to clear the course in one shot, or
No,
it
no, no,
does
no.
it look
Yeah,
a lot of time to complete?
I think this is not fair. Yeah, you are getting into my secrets. Okay, I'll tell you. I was not a great student. Yeah. I mean, let me be honest. No? So the those days it was, of course, intermediate and final. Intermediate I took a little longer time. Okay, so I wouldn't regret. Maybe I would have written 3 attempts to clear company law. But I'll tell you, Abhi, because I took more attempts today, the company law. I mean, I'm not telling every student to take more attempts, huh? But I'm telling you my story. Okay, I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
if you have, of course, Abhi has cleared quite early, so I know. I mean, he was one of those brilliant students, but I was not. So, how it helped me, I'll tell you. It used to take me inside pages of company law, and I could master that particular subject. So that way, no regrets for having taken a little longer time to pass inter, but final it was all one attempt, single group in about 1.5. That is, by the time I finished my training, I had finished my final. So final was a very lovely journey, but inter was a little tough.
No, why this particular question was like, majority of the students who will be watching, few people might be struggling to clear the exam. So this is the kind of answers, for them it will be really motivating, that
Oh,
everyone cannot clear it in one attempt, and then their career also will be really successful. So that is one example we want to set,
yeah, yeah. So
basically,
you
like by
got my
sharing your
other
personal
side.
experience.
So you got my other side, which is, today people may be respecting or may have regard for me for the knowledge and all that, but it has not come easy, Abhi. I'll tell you honestly, it has not come easy. It's been very tough journey as a student, but one thing I learned, of course, again, I would like to place on record my father's help, where he said, don't give up, don't give up. And Abhi, it is not like I used to fail miserably, okay? 2 marks, 3 marks.
Hmm.
Out of 150 marks, I used to come close to 147. How many
Correct.
times have, so I need somebody, right? And that used to be my father in my case, where he used to say, it's okay, you are come close, give the next attempt, next attempt. So somehow that thing of not giving up should be there with every student.
No, I'm
Yes.
sure
What?
this will be very motivating. Like if somebody can be as successful as Sundaresan sir and who also had few attempts, I'm sure every student will be very inspired by your words. So, sir, once you finished your student days, like where did you start your career, or what was on your mind when you just finished the course?
Oh, Alok, I was not very privileged. Okay, I mean, our days was very tough. After we completed our graduation, our family used to look up to our going to a job. They used to look up to whatever amount we could earn, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Trust me, I'm talking about these numbers in 1986. So every 100 rupees mattered for my family. So it's not as be a very easy journey. So I waited for my intermediate to get completed, and then I joined a training with a large company called Solidaire, where the stipend those days used to be only 600 rupees. 600 per month, that's okay. But that's where the whole journey started for me from a work perspective. So from there on, no looking back. After that, I don't think I've taken a break at all in my life. It has been one company after the other. So the journey continued after that. So training is a very important thing. salary is not the question because you get a stipend. The journey starts from your training days, and then it moves into the employment part and all that.
Yes, sir. So, can you share your initial days in corporate world? Like, how was it? What were the challenges you faced? Because I know it's quite some time ago, but if you could share that, that will be great.
Alok, I'll tell you whether it was 1989 when I started or whether it is 2001, sorry, 2021. Nothing has changed. Because today, as a practicing company secretary, Abhi would know that I have trained almost close to 150 people
Correct.
in the
Yes.
last 18 years. So, training wise, things have not changed. At least our firm doesn't believe in that because we are tough on trainees. Okay. So, my days, it was very tough because you need to work. It is not easy. It's not a 9 to 5 job, whether it was a trainee also. My boss was a triple. We used to call triple in Chennai, which is a CA, a CS, a CWA.
Mm.
He used to come like a policeman on rounds at 6:30 in the evening to check whether you are still sitting in the office. And this is not because he expected you to sit. That's where the learning is. In fact, I'll share one secret with you. We were two trainees at that point of time. My colleague who was there with me used to pack his bags and go at 6 sharp. But whereas I used to go to my senior, the company secretary, and they used to say, "Okay, is there anything else that I can do?" And trust me, from 6 to 8, he put me in finance department. He said, "Go help people in finance department," because finance department used to sit till 9 o'clock in the night. So, from a training perspective, from a student perspective, it is that limited time of 15 months or 2 years that you get. I think you should use it to the maximum. If you are looking at packing your bags and leaving early, I think you are missing out a lot. And to that lovely student community, I want to tell work is never given, work is always taken. You
True.
have to go and ask your senior or the boss or whoever is running what more can I do? Where is more work? And that is when that lovely 2 years you get to learn lot of things in corporate. And when you're doing this, you should also understand that you're preparing for your final. See, the
Exactly.
work that you're going to put in the office is actually going to be useful when you're going to write your final.
Correct.
So why are you hesitating to go and ask for more work? That's what is my takeaway, which I did. And God's grace, I mean, I've been successful in whatever I've done. So I have done that journey, and I'm very happy to
Yeah.
share it with our students.
Great, sir. Sir, since you had a wonderful experience both in corporate and also in practice, so before we come to practice, can you share your experiences in the corporate world? What were the kind of industries that you worked in and the challenges there, or your experience basically?
Okay, lovely. First and foremost, I would always let students know that you should never behave like the three monkeys, the Gandhiji's three monkeys. Don't be dumb, don't be deaf, don't be blind. Then you are not going to be a successful company secretary, which means please speak, please write. These are the ways where your talents actually come out. Okay. Now, what has it what has that got to do with corporate? See, as a profession, company secretaries cannot be an introvert. Now, what's an introvert? A person who is shy, who cannot speak, who cannot, all this will not help. You need to be an extrovert. You need to speak. You need to be open. You need to be, you expressive. Otherwise, it's very difficult. In fact, I'll tell you, I want to share a story of my good friend Abhi here. In fact, it's a very interesting story. I think it's an inspiration for most students. I'll tell you. So when Abhishek was with me, he was working for a short stint of about 2 years, and that's when one of the opportunities came his way where in one seminar that I was doing, Abhishek went and spoke. I mean, I just said, "Why, Abhi, give it a shot. Go and speak." So that was Abhi's first, I would say, the test for a public speaking. So I said, "Don't worry, I'm there." And trust me, Abhi went and spoke on some topic. And in that forum, there was somebody from the Big Four who was watching Abhi. And evening, that person whom I know calls me and says, "Can I take Abhi?" No, look at this. I mean, opportunities, friends, you should understand. So, a simple forum like this can create an amazing opportunity for you. So, that's where I advocate this, which I have been doing. So, in corporate also, please understand, I have been a very outgoing person. It is not like I used to keep quiet. I used to be very innovative. I used to try and do things which were out of the world, whether it's an AGM, whether it's a board meeting. In fact, I mean, of course, Alok, with this 30 minutes, I can't tell you what all I've done. I just love, I used to talk about this in MSOP once upon a time. Of course, off late, I've not been doing, where I used to share my experiences. You won't believe. The board meeting papers which used to get printed were of the quality that a board member would pick up the paper and say, "Hey, where did you source?" That, from that level to what goes inside the board meeting papers, is what you can express. So, to let you know in a nutshell what corporate life is, it's an amazing game of politics. It's an amazing game of getting recognized. Be an extrovert, go and express, and always do things that are classy when it comes to a corporate. That's very, very important. And you will get the recognition that you are due for in a corporate.
Yes, sir. That's very well put, sir. Now that you told us a little bit about corporate, when did you decide to get into practice, and what was the thought process behind that?
Again, you're getting into my other side of the story. No, 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 no. Practice, okay, should I be saying this to you? I don't know. Practice was not my cup of tea. I'll be
Hmm.
very open. Okay. I would have loved to retire in my life as some director position in a big company. That is what I was made of. I'll tell you. But destiny was a little different. Okay. So 2002, it was a year of recession. And that's when I made a mistake which all company secretaries make, of trying to change a job. Now that is another lovely line where I can talk why, when you should you leave a job, all of those. So I was in a fantastic job, a software company, drawing a fantastic salary, but I don't know what went right, what went wrong, and I decided to move, and that move failed. And those days you wouldn't even get a job, unlike today's market. So, after 6 months of struggle, I then decided to get into practice. So this is my practice side of the story, and I don't think I am ashamed to share this story, but this is how I entered practice.
No,
So,
in fact, it's quite inspiring, sir. You can make use of a difficult situation in the best way, and now you're one of the best people in practice. So it all started with you deciding to leave a job in a corporate and then getting into practice, which you're sharing is kind of forced and not your first preference, and still you have made it really big over there. So I'm sure it's very inspiring.
but Alok, it is only because of some divine intervention that I'm successful.
Now that you're being very humble, sir.
But
It's
you're being
also
very humble, yeah.
hard
No,
work is also there.
Alok,
Divine intervention will.
I'll be very honest. Yeah. Uh, Today, if you are terming me as successful, I would like to give most of the credits to my trainees. You would not hear this story from anybody, I'm telling you. But last, not 18 years, in fact, right from my first job, which I got at the age of 26, today I am 56, 30 years, I have been only doing training of my future millionaires of this country, which is company secretaries. Okay. And their contribution has always been amazing. I'll tell you, amazing. I mean, I would love to go on record on this because not many people, some of my peers actually say, "Oh, trainees, who will train them?" But in my case, it's never been that. Today's success is followed for me only because of a major contribution from management trainees. I want to put this, uh, vocal. I have to be very vocal about this, and I'm sharing with you.
Great, sir. Sir, would you like to share some of your experiences in practice when you deal with the bigger companies? What are their expectations and how will you deliver that?
Oh, lovely. So it's a big transition, Alok. Actually, to be very honest, the flashy lifestyle of a corporate. Please understand. Of course, Abhi knows that better. Uh, it's something different, right? You have flashy cars. You stay in some five-star hotels every time. You travel business class. I mean, you are somewhere in the sky. Practice suddenly brings you to the ground level. It's a huge tud. I'll tell you. My days in 2002 and my days in 2003, it's a complete change in my lifestyle, right? Because corporate is corporate, practice is practice. You should understand that. I mean, reality check, right? So when you look at practice, the first few things are very clear. How to cut down. See, practice is like an entrepreneur, right? You are a startup. So you need to be planning everything carefully. Because gone are those days when I used to get lakhs of rupees as salary and then suddenly drop down, look out for my first client, and then I don't know where the client is going to come from. I mean, you guys also are into practice, so you will know
Yes,
better.
yes, definitely.
You
Yes,
don't
same
know where
story.
the
Same
clients
story.
are going to come by. I'll tell you. In practice, also, you need to be very choosy. You need to be classy. You can be classy. So, the first few lessons where some of my young members who joined me in my initial days, I was very clear. All of you will walk in not with your slipper. From head to toe, you will come in as if you are working for a corporate. This is the first lesson I'll tell you, because as company secretaries, we should understand whether you are in corporate or in practice, grooming is very important. How you walk, how you talk, how you behave, everything matters. Please understand. Just because you are in practice doesn't mean you can take life easy. This is my first few lessons which I want to communicate to my student friends. And even as a management trainee, please understand. Walk into your organization only in a shoe. Even though your mentor may come in a whatever, in a normal footwear, you are you. Please understand. You are not the firm, because every student is unique. Every student is different. So all these things matter. So coming to practice, very simple. For a student life, whether it is corporate or whether it is practice, it is the same. I don't think they should look at it differently. Whether it is the office timing, whether it is the punctuality, whether it is the grooming, whether it is the way they speak, whether they talk, the way they get into the office, everything matters. I will share with you some of the beautiful stories, Alok. Yesterday's story. Yesterday's story. One of the trainees got absorbed in a lovely large organization, which is my retainer client.
Okay.
What more happiness do I want? And when the client calls up and tells me that, hey, we like this person because the way you have groomed this person is fantastic. The person is a corporate material. We want the person. And from my perspective, I would always say, whether it was Abhi or whether it was, say, Sumit. Yeah, this is the guy who just got absorbed yesterday. For me, it's okay. Please take, because two things have happened there, right? One, people are happy the way we are training. Number two, the corporate has a lot of confidence in us, saying that, okay, if it is this person, they will perform. So So understand, friends, whether it is in the training in a practicing form or whatever, there is always somebody who is watching you. There is always an opportunity that you may get a job. There is always an opportunity that somebody likes you. So please don't compromise the quality in which you are going to deliver, whether it is in a corporate or whether it is in practice.
Yes, sir.
So
Yeah.
this is what I wanted to,
So
communicate.
I want to acknowledge it because it is like an institution where there is a lot of recognition. The moment you are out of JSA, it is like an alumni tag.
Yeah.
Like even I can, basically like I want to put that as an acknowledgement because definitely like I have learned in your institution when I was part of it, and it is really helping me throughout my career. And there is a recognition in the market that I should put it on record.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. I mean, that's what I'm saying. No, so there may be a little amount of strictness in my office, but that is only for the trainees' good. That is what people should understand. I mean, today, Abhi, when you joined that Big Four, there were already four other people from our firm who were in with that Big Four. So that itself is testimony, right? I mean, people just recognize that stamp, and it's like a university
Correct.
seal. So,
That is what I meant. Yeah.
that's good for people. So that's how serious they should take.
Yes, sir. So you shared your experience from right from being a student, then your corporate days, then about also your practice. Now we would like to ask some general things. Being a person who's been in the profession for more than 30 years now, how do you see the future trend of this profession? Like, what is the scope? Like, how far can CS profession go? Because there's a general myth or misunderstanding that the scope is limited. So we want you to set the record straight.
Alok, let me correct that sentence. How far can the CS profession go? Just change it, no? How far the person can go?
The company secretary.
You.
You.
Exactly.
See, I have always believed in the individual rather than the profession. I mean, where to start, where to end. One of my early trainees is a company secretary of one of the largest Tata companies. Okay.
Yeah.
To the story of another trainee I have told, to story of another trainee who started practice and who is very successful. I mean, so understand, profession is here to give you 100%. But how much do you want to take from the profession? So it's at the individual side. Okay. Where do I see this profession? Just last week, a very senior company secretary with about 20 years of experience called me and said, "What now?" I just asked him, "Have you taken the valuation examination?" He said, "No." Then I said, "It's time that you upgrade yourself." So, where is the limit, Alok? You can do IBC, you can do valuation, you can be a valuer. No, the profession has opened up so much that you can do whatever. And gone are those days when you would be a proud practicing company secretary or a company saying that I have incorporated a company. Gone. I have handled an IPO. Gone. Today, people are coming in telling me I appeared for a GST hearing. I appeared for a merger hearing. This is where we are opening up. So, from my perspective, I think from here to where, I think the real takeoff, I'll be very honest, Alok, I feel jealous of you guys. In fact, more than you are at least in your 30s. I feel jealous of my trainees. You know why? I always feel I should have born during these trainees' times here. I tell my son, Sunil, who's about 26, I say, uh, God willing, let's change the place. No, or change that Yayati story, right?
Yeah.
What a world you guys are living. Actually, so when somebody is really saying something about this generation, millennials, and all that, I always say, don't speak about them. They are in a much, much advantageous position than what we were. And that's why maybe people in my generation are jealous and they talk ill about the current generation. No, I think they are Gen X is amazing generation today. So to to tell you where we are heading to. Yeah, it's an open, like an open source or an open book. This generation, this profession is an open profession. For me, it's a long-term player. I don't look at any generation which is short-term. Okay, before you ask the next question, I'll ask my question, which one of the students asked me in one of the forums. How long do you think you will practice, sir? I was shocked. Huh? I was shocked with this. So I said, maybe till I breathe my last. That's the advantage, right? Why would I give it up? If I have energy levels 70, 80, 90, I mean, that's okay. I mean, so long as I have the energy levels, I'll do my practice. I will continue to be contributing to the younger generation. That's okay. So that's what I'm saying. So profession is amazing. It's just taken off. And I think there's a long way to go in the profession.
So there's another question a little connected to this is nowadays both ICSI and also in ICSI London, they're talking about this concept of governance professional more than just a chartered secretary or a company secretary. So who do you think is a governance professional, and how should we look at this globally? Globally, what are the opportunities?
Okay, here I would like to differ on that point. Okay,
Sure.
because see, suddenly by changing a professional's trait, governance is only a trait. You can't say governance professional because governance, let me be very honest, is a myth. Why am I saying that? Why am I saying that? Because there is something called letter and spirit. You know, so when you talk about governance, people more talk about spirit. Compliance, people connect it to letter. So from my perspective, whether it is a chartered accountant, whether it's a company secretary, whoever it is, I think we are more protectors of compliance. Okay, governance is something which the board members have to take care, because that's where they have to behave beyond letter, which is spirit, which is governance. So from my perspective, leave that governance buzzword to a bunch of professionals inside the boardrooms. Retain the compliance for a chartered accountant, for a CMA, or for a CS. We have to drive this. It's, I mean, we are trained to do that. So let's just do that. And that itself, there is a huge opportunity waiting to be performed. So that's my take on the question on whether we should be called a governance professional, all that. No, we are good the way we are,
Sure, sir. And also now, what do you think are the opportunities abroad? Like, is there a possibility that a person trained in India can also work abroad, or at least the Commonwealth countries, or what is the scope there? How can the profession grow there?
Beautiful. So basically, if it is a CA or a CS, there is a big scope out there in Middle East already. Already. I'm not talking about now. Last 20 years, it's been there.
Yeah.
Correct. So that is one big scope which is available, which is a India CS being recognized in the Middle East. Okay, I mean, Avi also knows we were doing some business for a company based out of Dubai, and that was more out of compliance issues. So there is an opportunity. Next, Australia and UK are the two countries which actually our institute can have a good tie-up. Now, right now there is a tie-up, but will it fetch you a job? I don't think so.
It's
Because
like a MOU, that's all.
even if you pass ICSA, you need to be a resident in the UK to really get hold of a job. Otherwise, as of now, all these appear to me as extra qualifications in your visiting card. It's a glamour quotient in the visiting card. That's all. So to answer to your point, job opportunities, I think right now it's the Middle East. Maybe if we really penetrate and do something more than what we are doing, there can be opportunities which can open up in the UK and in Australia and Singapore. I think three places where opportunities can open up are these three countries.
So when you say more than what we are doing, what are your suggestions on that more part? Like what else can be done to get opportunities abroad?
Only MOE is not going to help, Alok.
Yeah,
You really need to have competitive exams like CPA. You know
exactly.
what CPA is, right?
Yes.
So make your whatever equivalent exams in Singapore. See, fortunately, all are Commonwealth countries, which I'm talking about, which is the Queen's country, right? So most of the laws are similar to what Indian laws are.
True.
So studying them and passing them is not an issue. But you need to have structured education to ensure that you get a job out of this qualification in those countries. Otherwise, it just remains a glamour quotient.
Okay, sir. So I think we've got a very good picture about the entire profession and also your story of being a CS and being a second generation CS. What is your message for students who are studying the course? Now, they could be in the foundation level, which is called as the entrance test now, or the executive or professional, because very often they get demotivated. So we would want your words of wisdom.
Okay, I will I will use the three E's. What are the three E's? I will start with an entry, I will start with an exist, and I will end with exit. What am I trying to say? Entry. So when a student enters this profession, they should understand that, like a medicine, like an engineering, they have to give this profession a minimum of 4 years. Nothing comes free. You cannot do this course in 6 months. That student should understand they should give this profession 4 years. But between an engineering, medicine, and our profession, what is the advantage? You don't spend much. It's in fact, even today, I am so happy to tell you that our profession is one of the cheapest professional degrees that you can get in this country. Trust me, if you have all about 50,000 rupees or about a lakh of rupees, I think in 4 years you are through. So that is what is entry. So what is very important in this entry stage? Patience. Patience, very, very important. Okay. And every profession requires this thing called patience, right? Well, you cannot give it up. You have to keep pursuing. So patience. Next is called exists. When does that exist come? The moment you complete your executive, you have arrived into the profession. So that's where the whole concept of exist comes into the system, which is the training. Now, what is this training? Now, many students are confused whether I should go to a corporate, I should go to a practicing company secretary. Now, my logic is very simple, friends. If you are economically, in need of money, you should look at corporate, because obviously family also matters, right? Now, if you are economically sound, then you can pick up this practitioner to be your mentor. Okay, there is a big difference in learning. Corporate, I don't say it's limited learning. If you are very lucky and if you have one merger transaction during your lifetime as a trainee in the corporate, done. But otherwise, if you look at practitioner, there are a variety of things that you get to learn, right from incorporation to winding up. So the stipend may be less with a practitioner, but learning may be more with a PCS. So you have to decide. Next, when I say exit, it's very important that during the training itself, you should try and complete your final. That people should understand. You know, just keep the social media away for about a few months before your exam. It's not worth it. Don't worry about the WhatsApp message or the like button in Facebook. It's not going to help you. Please understand. If you are in Insta, you should understand, oh my God, you can't keep scrolling down the Instagram, right? Don't do that. I mean, these are all small little messages that I want to give you, because there is a big difference it's very important in a student life. I know you are the most disturbed with all the social media stuff which is happening, but if you want to be successful, keep it aside. Only then you can exit, not from the profession, from the student life, and enter the lovely profession where I will tell you the salary is waiting to be given to you. And it's a fortune, friends. There are company secretaries in this country who are already earning in 8 digits. And I say 8 digits, it's a crore of rupees. If you guys want to get there, then the most important phase of your life is the student life. This 4 years, if you can take up good training, get yourself coached properly, get yourself mentored properly, and not rely, I would still say, please be in the old school, which is called Gurubhyo Namaha. And instead of today's student life, which is Googlobhyo Namaha. So don't get into the concept of Googlobhyo Namaha, because for everything, Google cannot give you answers. There is something called reference, there's something called books. I think you guys should look at that also seriously, and you should shape up to be excellent interpreters of law. I think this is what I would like to give away as a message. And you know I mean, student life is beautiful, don't waste it.
Yes, sir. So I think that was a really wonderful interview. And also something very interesting is Sundareshan sir also has a YouTube channel called JS Speaks. We will also leave a link in the description below. Make sure you check out that channel. Of course, that channel he's done it for directors and advisors and people of that stature, but it will help even students when we look at the kind of content which he's producing over there. So thanks a lot, sir, for coming on the World of Company Secretaries, the interview of top company secretaries in India and across the world. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Pleasure is mine, and thanks for having me in your program. Okay, and I wish both of you, in fact, the three of you, AAA, all
Yes,
the
sir.
very best. Yeah,
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
sir.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, Abhishek.
Thank you.